Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And guys, I come back with that second video just to make you think. And guys, this is on smart meters. Now, we know that basically the Internet of Things is here, is coming fast. And we know the collection of data is very, very important. And this is going to be the biggest piece. We know our routers. We know Alexa. We know everything. All these gadgets in the home are collecting data. But this one, just like your phone, this one is just as important as your phone. And basically, if someone knows when you're sleeping, leaving the house, what appliances you're using, what time you're using it, all that data will be collected. And like I stated, they will be able to sell you products before you even think about ordering, because they're going to already know what you're thinking and already know what you're doing. That is the whole point of Internet of Things. Right now, we really don't have a choice already. I don't know any of you that's listening to me right now, but I know 90% chance you either have an Apple or a Samsung phone. That's just plain and simple, because the illusion of choice has got the masses confused. But just imagine if the powers that be really knew what you were thinking, where you were going, how you were going to do it, what time you're going to do it. But guys, enjoy the video. You have a wonderful day.
Will not be able to understand or tell what appliances are being used within the home, how much each appliance has consumed as far as energy goes.
Rockland Electric's a subsidiary of Orange and Rockland and say this is good. Some consumer groups disagree.
I don't know what their capabilities are. We do know that some smart meters produce data that has enough granularity that experts are able to go in and tell what kind of appliances people are using.
Despite concerns from groups like the ACLU, the utility says it's built cybersecurity into the meters and the software that runs them, but information's still being gleaned.
They're building a profile on the consumer, not only their usage, but the time of day.
Rockland Electric says its privacy policy prohibits building consumer profiles or selling a customer's data.
Has lived in her Brentwood home for 30 years, and over that time, she and her family have made a conscious effort to conserve energy.
I know how much energy I use. I work hard to conserve it.
She even knows how much energy the water feature in her backyard uses. But there is something on her back patio she says doesn't belong. This new digital smart meter.
We never got any notice from NES that this changeover from analog to digital was going to take place.
Electric services across the state and country are transitioning to advanced meter infrastructure, or smart readers. The new meters are read remotely, meaning no more home visits from electric employees. NES officials say the smart meters track energy usage more precisely and allow consumers and electric companies to save energy. But for residents like Gurley, they're a cause for concern.
You can tell when a homeowner is home or not by this monitoring. We don't know if their system can be hacked.
And then there's the concern of radio frequency emissions, which some say can cause health issues.
We spend a lot of time out here on this patio right underneath that meter. And we don't want one on our house.
When the tech arrived this week to change Gurley's meter, she said no thanks and agreed to pay the additional monthly charge to keep her analog system. But
then the very next day, when I was not at home, an NES technician came out and switched it out anyway.
NES claims there was an issue with Gurley's meter, one she says she never knew about.
It just feels like more government intervention in our lives, where the private consumer's wishes are not honored.
PG&E has installed 9 million smart meters in Northern California, part of a $2.2 billion program. It's been touted as a way to save money and energy because the transmitted information can be used to monitor home energy use. That allows residents to use appliances when demand is low, reducing their costs.
So just walking door to door, putting these on the door hangers.
They're not smart, they're not green, and they're not safe, and they're not legal.
Hood and her fellow activist, Mary Beth Brangan, believe wireless smart meters emit harmful electromagnetic radiation, a contention that has spurred a major debate and studies to back up both sides. Hood and Brangan took up the fight against the smart meters and started printing signs and petitions for several reasons.
PG&E's decided to do a wireless version. And they didn't need to be wireless. They could have been hardwired.
People have reported seizures. They've reported migraines. They've had trouble sleeping, heart problems, arrhythmias, a lot of symptoms from difficulties with smart meters.
This was just pushed on our communities without any sort of input or education or anything. And it was all of a sudden, you're going to get smart meters whether you like it or not.
They weren't alone. Environmentalists and others in several parts of the country have taken up the anti-smart meter cause as utilities spend $29 billion to upgrade their networks and install the new meters. Hood lobbied the Fairfax Town Council, and after several meetings, the council decided to ban the smart meters. The Marin County supervisors took a similar stand, outlawing new devices, at least for now. More than a dozen California cities and counties have passed such legislation.
They don't have the jurisdiction individually to create a smart meter free zone or whatever they want to call it.
Edward Randolph is Director of Energy for the California Public Utilities Commission, the only agency, he says, that has jurisdiction over the devices. Randolph says the PUC pushed the utilities to install smart meters.
The vast majority of all of the input and evidence is that society is going to benefit from the smart meters. I mean, the energy efficiency savings alone in the long term for the state of California is going to be a large economic benefit for most ratepayers.
When PG&E began installing smart meters in California 6 years ago, its executives never suspected it would cause such a fuss. They said they considered gas and electric meters simply tools of the trade. The meters connect diverse power sources into an efficient system, argues Helen Burt, the Chief Customer Officer for PG&E.
Smart meter is really a basic building block of a smarter grid. And a smart grid is being built all over the United States to connect solar power and other pieces of intermittent renewable power into the electric system.
While critics say the use of wireless technology contains a risk, Burt discounts it.
I will tell you, we know they're safe. We know smart meters are safe. I believe wireless technology is safe. I have no qualms whatsoever about the safety. I probably have 7 or 8 wireless devices, 2 of which are probably with me today. So I think we live in a wireless world.
Engineering Dean Amir Jose Macari of Sacramento State University also defends wireless technology. He was part of the California Council on Science and Technology, a team that reviewed the literature on electromagnetic emissions, including radio frequency waves, or RF, a study often cited by PG&E.
There is no proof of any health impacts from RF. The World Health Organization put out a report in 2005 saying there is no evidence of any harms to human beings from these technologies.
But they didn't say that harm wasn't possible.
Correct. We continue to say maybe more studies are needed.
Macari demonstrated for us how the emissions from a smart meter can be monitored. He says those emissions are very slight.
So I could also be measuring the emissions on my cell phone.
So how does it compare?
Well, this is so much higher.
Really?
But by 20 times higher than what the smart meter does.
And he says the emissions tail off.
As we measure right here, and as you measure it further and further, the signal goes down exponentially.
Still, opponents of smart meters like Joshua Hart continue their fight at the Public Utilities Commission and elsewhere. Hart founded Stop Smart Meters, and he says the studies PG&E cites conflict with others showing problems. He says no studies have been done on smart meters per se, but research on cell phones is relevant.
The National Institutes of Health have found changes in neurological chemistry because of exposure to wireless. There are hundreds of peer-reviewed articles that show impacts on human health and behavior at levels far below what the FCC guidelines indicate are permissible.
Hart is calling for a halt to the technology, even though PG&E is 90% through installing the new meters.
We think there should be an immediate moratorium on the technology, pending a series of independent hearings on the problems that have been identified. And this needs to be a national and international halt, and we need investigations.
The movement against smart meters has been joined not just by environmentalists and leftists, but also by Tea Party activists who see the meters as an invasion of privacy, since they collect data on people's electricity use that could indicate facts about their lifestyles.
The smart meters reveal how many people are home, what time you wake up in the morning, what appliances you're using, even perhaps what television program you're watching. And this is all information that is extraordinarily valuable to third-party corporations.
Do you sell the data to anyone?
Absolutely not.
Do you share it with anyone?
No, our customers own their data. We do not own their data.
One thing Hart and his supporters have achieved is a provision that people who want to keep their old meters can do so, provided they pay a $75 fee and $10 a month charges to opt out of the smart meter program.
A lot of people consider it extortion to have to pay to not have something on your house that can harm you.